Lena was pressing Dominic's third white dress shirt. Steam billowed as the steam iron glided over the pinpoint cotton, letting out a faint hiss. Her movements were practiced and fluid, collar, cuffs, placket, every inch rendered flawlessly smooth. She had repeated this routine for 2 years, it was etched into muscle memory. Dominic stood in the doorway of the walk-in closet, watching her for 10 minutes. Hands tucked in his suit pockets, posture straight, yet, if you looked closer, his right hand was balled tight in the pocket, knuckles white. "Let's break up." The sentence rolled through his throat dozens of times before he finally forced it out in a cold voice. He expected her to panic, to ask why, to stare at him with red-rimmed eyes, but the iron only paused half a second. Lena tipped her head, her gaze skimming his profile in calm detachment. After 3 seconds she gave a slight nod. "Okay." The chill around Dominic froze for an instant, brows snapping together. "I'll say it once more, break up." "I heard you." Lena switched off the iron and pulled the plug, no trace of fluster. "You're tired of this, I get it." His lips parted, Adam's apple sliding as if something blocked his throat. A flicker, almost imperceptible, disturbed those habitually sharp eyes before familiar frost sealed it over. 30 motionless seconds ticked by before he squeezed out, "I'll compensate you, 10 million. Lena smiled, a pale, dawn-mist smile that would soon dissolve. "No need. I'll move out tonight." She turned to fold the ironing board back to him, so she didn't see the instant his right hand slipped from his pocket, instinctively stretching half an inch toward her before snapping back. A 24-inch suitcase held everything Lena had left in the lakefront mansion: 2 bath towels, 3 toothbrushes, a few sets of sleepwear, assorted day clothes, and several books she reread. She had lived in the 400-square-meter estate for 2 years, but her footprint was light as a wisp of smoke, ready to scatter with the wind. Dominic stood in the living room, watching her wheel the case toward the door. Crystal chandelier light traced the taut line of his jaw, his gaze tracking her from staircase to entry. "The shirts are pressed," Lena said, turning back, voice calm as a work report. "In the second closet on the left, hung by color. I mended the loose thread on the navy cuff, tell the dry cleaner, please." "Wait." Dominic crossed in 3 strides and caught her wrist. His palm was warm, grip almost bruising. "You have nothing to ask?" Lena met his eyes. The face that had quickened her pulse countless nights was now met only with serenity. She could even count his lashes, she used to tease that such thickness on a man was a waste. "Whatever makes you happy," she answered, easing her hand free, fingertips grazing his palm. Dominic's face darkened, eyes rocking with unreadable motion. "Lena, goodbye, Morgan." She pulled the door open, the wheels rumbled across slick marble in a steady rhythm. Door opened, door closed. Footsteps receded through the courtyard, neither hurried nor hesitant. Dominic remained before the sealed door. 5 seconds, 10, 30. He clenched his fists, knuckles whitening, stare settling on the blue and white porcelain she had once admired for 2 seconds before he bought it on the spot. He didn't smash it, only hammered the solid wood cabinet beside it, the dull blow rattling shelf ornaments. His chest gaped with a hollowness more painful than losing 10 deals. The 70-square-meter brick row house smelled of old times. It was the only inheritance her parents left. The year Lena left for grad school abroad they died in a car crash. This flat became her route. She booted her laptop, queued a brainless rom-com, and ordered an extra spicy hot pot bowl. Her phone stayed silent, not a single notification. She hadn't blocked Dominic, only changed his contact from Jordan back to Dominic. She didn't cry, didn't feel much sorrow. A piece of her heart was hollow, yet it had already been hollow. Today the cavity merely revealed itself. She had sensed the outcome from the night of the corporate gala 2 years ago, when Dominic pulled her from a circle of executives drowning her in liquor, his drunken eyes saying, "Come with me." A CEO and an admin assistant were inhabitants of different galaxies. In the fairy tale, Cinderella wore crystal shoes because she was born a count's daughter. Lena was an average girl from an average family, nothing more. The next morning at 9 she filed her electronic resignation letter. The attachment held a meticulous handover list, every contact, progress status, keynote highlighted. The page refreshed instantly, application approved. Not efficiency. Up on the top floor a man stared at the admin panel and personally pressed confirm. The moment his finger clicked, he flung the pen away. Good. Clean. Night of the third day, 10 p.m., the doorbell rang. Lena peered through the peephole. Dominic under the dim hall light, dressed down but still clearly in moneyed tailoring, complexion worse, faint shadows under his eyes. He had fought the impulse for days, and still lost. What is it? She opened the door a bare crack. Aren't you going to let me in? Low voice, carefully hidden fatigue. Not convenient, Lena answered. Place is a mess. You really don't miss any of it? His brows knit, he inhaled, bitterness woven through. She smiled. Did you want me to sob, beg, kneel? That's not my style. You always knew. Yesterday when you walked out, why wouldn't you take the money? 10 million would let you live easy for life. At the time I didn't want it. And now, he pushed, desperate for an answer. Still don't. Lena didn't hesitate. Dominic, once a thing is tagged with a price, even the last shred of dignity is gone. He said nothing, neither leaving nor budging. The corridor's motion light died, darkness draping his silhouette until only the strip of indoor light outlined him. 3 minutes hung between them. Lena sighed, her resolve melted too easily where he was concerned, a habit she needed to fix. Come in. She widened the door. Dominic stepped inside quickly, as though afraid she'd rescind. Inside the cramped space his brow reflexively pinched, not from disdain, but disorientation. Tattered couch under last night's blanket, coffee table littered with chip bags and cola cans, windowsills boasting plump succulents thriving in neglect. Sit, she pointed. Find your spot. Water? Help yourself, cooler's over there. He didn't sit. His gaze canvassed the room, coming back to her face. She wore a plain tee and drawstring pants, hair tied any which way, not a trace of makeup, the polar opposite of the immaculate executive household Lena he knew, more real than ever. You look, not sad at all, he said, bemused and, somehow, dissatisfied. Why would I be? Leaning against the wall, arms folded. From day one I pictured this scene. You stroll the clouds, I tread the dirt, different paths. That you ever glanced down was an accident, that you look away is the rule. Dominic's expression darkened thunderously. So for 2 years you've simply waited for me to tire so you could walk away? Emery, more precisely, I was rehearsing life without you. That way, when you really left, I wouldn't fall so hard. The air froze. Dominic looked as if those words had stabbed under his ribs. Minutes passed before he finally sank into the sofa springs creaking in protest, alien to the silent custom pieces at the mansion. I'm hungry, he announced abruptly. What? I want the instant noodles you make, with a fried egg on top. Dominic looked up at her, stubborn hope in his eyes. The kind you cooked for me that night last year when I had stomach cramps. Lena laughed in exasperation. Dominic, we broke up. You're the one who said it, remember? So I can't eat the noodles you cook just because we broke up? He asked, perfectly confident, almost childish. Lena was struck speechless. She stared at the man who never hesitated to slash companies apart in the boardroom, now begging for candy like a little kid. Fine, last meal, a period at the end of the 2-year sentence. She turned into the kitchen, pulled instant noodles and an egg from the cabinet, a few wilted greens from the fridge. Fire on, water boiled, egg cracked, noodles dropped, every motion automatic. For 2 years she had made him midnight snacks, when he worked past dawn, when he came home dizzy from banquets and his stomach hurt. She set the steaming bowl in front of him. Dominic took the chopsticks and ate slowly, chewing each mouthful as though memorizing the taste. When he finished, he set the chopsticks down. Too salty, yeah. She reached for the bowl. Next time use less salt, he added, her hand stilled. She lifted her eyes. There won't be a next time. Dominic, we're broken up. You want me gone that badly? His voice chilled. Don't let the door hit you. Lena carried the bowl toward the kitchen. Or were you planning to sleep over? My tiny temple can't house a god like you. Dominic stood, walked to the kitchen doorway, and watched her back as she washed up. Her shoulders were narrow, the outline of her shoulder blades flickered beneath cotton. He remembered nights when he'd wrapped his arms around her from behind, chin tucked into the hollow of her neck, breathing the faint citrus in her hair. I'm going, he said. See ya. At the door his hand rested on the knob, he looked back. No one's pressing my shirts. Hire a housekeeper, Lena answered, drying her hands, or use a dry cleaner. With your money, that's not a problem. He blinked, surprised. She went on. Also, I quit. I submitted my resignation yesterday afternoon, approved. I emailed the handoff list to your secretary, she confirmed. So, she met his gaze. You're no longer my boss. Dominic froze, lips parted, no words coming. He pulled the door open and left in something close to a hurry. The latch clicked. Lena leaned against it, eyes shut. Her heart was racing, one deep breath, two. Then she went back to her laptop and resumed the fluffy romance drama. The leads were mid-argument, sobbing like the world was ending. She hit pause, the noise felt pointless. Next morning she was tweaking her resume, debating whether to rest for 2 months or job hunt right away, when the doorbell rang again. She opened it to find Dominic's assistant, Zoe, crisp, young, arms full of shopping bags, Riley dresses, imported snacks, pricey supplements, a velvet jewelry box. Sam, Zoe said politely, Morgan asked me to bring these. Quinn, she didn't let Zoe inside. Take them back. Tell Morgan I don't want them, but Morgan said. Avery, Lena cut in, gentle but final, I've resigned. I have no reason to accept gifts from Morgan. Thanks for the trip. She shut the door, no room left for argument. 20 minutes later her phone rang. No contact name, but every digit was etched in her brain. Why'd you refuse? Dominic's voice was level, giving nothing away. Why would I accept? Silence stretched. She could hear his quiet breathing, the tap of fingertips on wood, his thinking tick. She spoke first. Dominic, what exactly do you want? You dumped me, I agreed. Now gifts, phone calls, what is this? A long pause, so long she thought the signal had dropped, then stomach cramps. Call your private physician. You have Dr. Lee's number. His antacid tablets don't work. That's still not my problem. Her tone stayed flat. I'm a clerk, not a doctor. I can't cure your gut. A tremor threaded his voice, not pain, but barely leashed emotion. Why, do you have to talk like that? Lena, can't we just? No, we. You ended it. You were tired of me, you said it, I walked. Your behavior now confuses me. What do you actually want? More silence. Then the dead line of a terminated call. She sat on the couch, phone in hand, mind tangled like cheap yarn. Peace lasted 2 days. Lena updated her resume, fired it off to a dozen postings, no bites. After 2 years in Dominic's high-pressure corporate bubble, her skills were niche and her age suddenly a liability. Friday night she met Sunny at a streetside grill stall. College roommates, 10 years strong, the only person who got full clearance to her heart. Smoke stung their eyes, grilled skewers sizzled, beer sweated in mugs. When Lena finished recounting the week, Sunny's eyes ballooned. He actually showed up at your place demanding noodles? She gulped her beer. Is Dominic starring in some post-breakup epiphany drama? No idea. Lena poked her eggplant. Maybe just habit. Used to someone pressing shirts, cooking supper, waiting up. Take it away and he itches. And you? Sunny studied her. Hurts at all? Lena hesitated. Of course it hurts. 2 years, if I'd raised a plant I'd still cry when it died. Only. She lifted her gaze. You know me. I never bet everything on him. So the fall bruised, but didn't kill. Sunny exhaled, then elbowed her. Check it out. Lena followed her glance. Dominic stood beside his black Maybach, out of place amid the greasy glamour. Night market neon flickered over his dark suit. He looked like taxidermy misplaced in a carnival. Clusters of girls whispered and stole glances. He spotted them and walked over. Sunny muttered, how'd he track you here? No clue. Lena set her skewer down and wiped her fingers. Ignore him. We eat. Dominic reached the table. His eyes flicked from her face to the charred meat and beer, nostrils flaring faintly. You didn't pick up, he said. It's loud. Didn't hear. She kept her tone flat. Need something? I haven't eaten. Sunny almost choked on her beer, coughed into her sleeve. Lena arched a brow. And? I want this. He pointed at the blistered skewers of lamb and garlic chives. She laughed. Dominic, this scene isn't you. Your stomach's delicate. If you get sick, I can't afford the lawsuit. Won't hold you responsible. Dominic stared, unblinking, serious to the point of scary. Buy me dinner. The words weren't plea or order, they were simple fact, as though feeding him street food was a law of physics. In the end she surrendered, handing him the plastic menu smeared with oil and fingerprints. He didn't touch it. Cameron, she ordered him bland stuff, grilled toast, corn, chicken wings, veggies. The vendor worked fast, plates clattering down. While they waited, no one spoke. Sunny devoted herself to disappearing into her food. Dominic watched Lena. Lena watched neon blink in the distance. The food arrived. Dominic picked up a skewer of grilled mantis slices, bit off a piece, and his brows snapped together. He was a picky eater, Lena had always known that. The chefs at the lakefront mansion had been poached from 5-star hotels, ingredients flown in, seasonings measured to the gram, yet he finished the whole skewer, then reached for the corn. Did you come to places like this a lot before? He asked Lena. Lena gave a small hum. All the time in college. Cheap, lively, tasted good. After you got together with me? Dominic asked. We never came again. You won't touch these things. Lena shrugged. It felt pointless, so I stopped. Dominic went quiet. He turned the cob in his hand but didn't take another bite. After a long pause he said, being with me, was it really that boring? Lena looked at him. Why bring this up suddenly? I know I worked non-stop, banquets every night, hardly any time for you. When you were with me you were always waiting. It was okay. Lena's voice was light. We each had our own way of living. You had your world, I had mine. They happened to overlap for 2 years, and now they don't. The words landed softly, like needles straight into Dominic's heart. He stared at her calm face and felt his chest tighten. Why won't you get back together with me? He asked, voice low. Lena's chopsticks paused, she lifted her eyes. Dominic, when did you ever beg for a second chance? Besides, you're the one who wanted the breakup. I regret it. Every syllable was sharp and clear. The day I said it, I said the opposite of what I felt. The West River project had blown up, the pressure was insane. I came home and saw you quietly pressing my white dress shirt, not even glancing at me, and I lost it. I never thought you'd actually agree. You're not the type to blurt things out in anger. I am. His gaze was complicated. Just never had anyone who could push me that far. Lena was silent a moment. The night market roared around them, the next table shouted drinking games, laughter booming. In that racket her voice was soft but unmistakable. Dominic, we don't fit. When you're upset you can take it out on me. When I'm upset can I take it out on you? No. The answer shot out of him. Then he froze, as if the possibility had never crossed his mind. See? Lena smiled, the curve of her lips bitter. We were never equals. You're the boss, I'm the employee, you're the giver, I'm the receiver. A relationship like that, keeping it up would only exhaust us. Dominic's throat worked hard, voice hoarse. When I say I like you, I don't mean I like being waited on. I like walking in and seeing you there. I like the way you smell. I like that you only look at me. His eyes dimmed. I'm just stupid. I don't know how to love, all I know is to hand you everything I have, the only way I know how. There, Lena said, standing. You don't even know yourself. She walked to the counter and paid. When she came back he was still sitting, staring at the cold grilled skewers, motionless. Let's go, she said. I'll put you in your car. Dominic stood and followed her to the curb. Before getting in he braced a hand on the door and turned, street lamp shadows sliced across his face. What if I change? Lena froze. He said it again, quieter but steady. Lena, what if I change? Learn to treat you as an equal, control my temper, stop being a workaholic. Would you give me another chance? Lena looked at him, night wind lifting the fine hair at her temples. Rowan, she said, Dominic, some things can't be changed just because you want to. Anne. I'm tired. She didn't say no, didn't say yes. Just tired. The light in Dominic's eyes blinked out. He nodded, climbed in. The Maybach slid into traffic and vanished into the neon river. Lena stayed on the sidewalk, watching the red taillights disappear. Long after they were gone, Sonny came up and draped an arm around her shoulders. The way he looked, man, seriously hooked. You don't get it. Lena shook her head. How don't I? Sonny retorted. A guy like that, chasing you to a place like this, eating stuff he won't touch, begging answers with his tail between his legs. Isn't that obvious? Lena's smile was thin. That's exactly why I can't. 2 years with him, I know the gap too well. He stands on the summit, I'm just someone at the foot staring up. Maybe right now he's bored and wants to climb down. But when he's done sightseeing he'll head back up. Her voice dropped, and by then I might not even be halfway. Falling from there, it's a long way down. Sonny fell silent, then sighed. You're just stubborn. When he asked, your heart leapt. Lena said nothing. Yes, it had leapt. When he asked, almost humble, what if I change, the ice around her heart had cracked. But after the leap came fear, and she still couldn't risk it. Days slid by. Lena finally landed a job, office manager at a small company called Heart. Not big, but the air was light, 9 to 5, overtime rare. After work she streamed shows, read paperbacks, slept in on weekends, met Sonny for lunch or shopping. Life settled, flat as a windless lake. Only sometimes, awake at 2 a.m., she thought of Dominic, the tired line of his profile when he worked past midnight, the faint crease between his brows when stomach cramps hit, the rare boyish moments that caught her off guard. Then she'd shake her head and scatter the memories, until that stormy night, thunder crashed, rain hammering the panes. At 11 the door shook under fists, no polite buzz, just frantic pounding. Lena peered through the peephole and her heart lurched. Dominic leaned against the frame, soaked to the bone, hair plastered to his forehead, face bloodless. He could barely stand, one hand clamped to his stomach, swaying. She yanked the door open, damp wind rushed in. Lena. He lifted his head, eyes unfocused, reeking of alcohol. My stomach. He sounded like a lost little boy. Lena exhaled and slipped an arm around him. Inside, he draped himself over her. She half carried him to the couch, fetched a dry towel, poured warm water. Drink. She held the glass to his lips. He managed 2 sips, grimacing. Hurts, serves you right. She clicked her tongue. Can't hold your liquor yet, you drank anyway? Dominic looked up, rims of his eyes red. They kept toasting, said you used to drink for me, told me to stop pretending. Lena stilled. Back then she'd guarded his ulcer, matching clients shot for shot because she could hold her vodka. A couple of times she'd landed in the ER getting her stomach pumped. After that he'd barred her from every glass, clients be damned. Seeing him drunk and pathetic now stirred a bitter mix of feelings. Sit tight, I'll get honey water. She started to rise. Dominic seized her hand with astonishing force. Don't go. His palm burned, his fingertips trembled. I messed up. Voice quivering, eyes bloodshot, hot tears dropped without warning onto her skin, scorching. The ever-composed Dominic, who never raised his voice let alone cried, was falling apart in front of her. Lena stood frozen, she had never seen him break. Where exactly did you mess up? She asked, tone softer than intended. Shouldn't have said break up, shouldn't have blown up, shouldn't have let pride run me. Words tumbled, mixed with rain and tears. I begged like this, why won't you forgive me? She tried to pull free, he clamped harder. You're drunk. No. Dominic lifted his head. His gaze was unfocused, yet stubbornly lucid. I'm sober. I know exactly what I'm saying. Lena, I won't be like that anymore, come back, okay? Come back. He clutched her hand like it was the last raft in a shipwreck, fingers biting deep into her skin. Dominic, you're drunk. Jamie, yet her voice trembled. I'm not drunk, he roared, then the volume cracked into a sob. I'm sober, stone cold sober, and I know I miss you. I can't sleep without you, the empty room strangles me. Teach me, tell me what to do so you'll come back, teach me, please. Something inside Lena melted into a soggy mess. Sit down before you fall. She steadied him onto the couch. He kept his tear-streaked eyes locked on her. Do you still want me, Lena? Do you? The question crashed down, the room went still. Only the rain outside kept drumming, as if trying to drown the world. You're drunk, Lena whispered for the third time, the words as thin as breath. I'm not. Dominic flung her hand away, braced himself against the wall, and swayed upright. You always do this, dodge the topic, never give a straight answer. He staggered back and nearly toppled. Lena instinctively reached, he shoved her off. Fine. He balanced, eyes bloodshot. Then answer me, what happens after I forgive you? Say it. Say it and I'm gone. She studied him, rain-soaked shirt, scarlet eyes, quivering shoulders. In a rush, 2 years of grievances, swallowed tears, and sleepless nights surged up. After? She gave a cold little laugh. Same as before, Dominic? He froze. Same as before? She kept going, each word a blade. You vanish into work, answer emails through dinner. 2 years, how many movies did we see? How many strolls through a mall? Even, her voice dropped, even our time together felt scheduled. Aren't you sick of that yet? Dominic's mouth hung open, like someone hit pause. The light in his eyes dimmed, pixel by pixel. Seconds later he mumbled, so, you don't want me anymore? Really don't? His fingers loosened, he stepped back and almost fell. Lena caught him again, he jerked free and propped himself against the wall. She saw his shoulders tremble. I get it, he rasped. Sorry for bothering you. He lurched toward the door, slipped, and slid to the floor. He stayed there, forehead on knees, silent. After a moment Lena crouched in front of him. She heard stifled sobs, low, muffled, like a wounded animal. Dominic was crying. What are you staring at? He lifted his face, eyes puffed and glittering with tears. Never seen a man cry? Never seen you cry, Lena answered honestly. He turned away, shoulders still shaking. My stomach hurts, really hurts. Good, she said. He cried harder, like a scolded kid. In the end her resolve melted. She hauled him onto the sofa, pressed a hot towel to his face, poured warm honey water, and rummaged for antacid tablets. Better? She asked. Still hurts, he whispered. She sighed and held out the tablets. Take them. He frowned at the white pills. Bitter. Lena laughed despite herself. Dominic, how old are you? He swallowed them reluctantly, face wrinkling. Gross. She watched him, suddenly amused. The mighty Dominic, scowling at the taste of medicine, an oddly endearing sight. A few minutes later the medicine kicked in, he sobered slightly. Half reclined, eyes half-lidded, he spoke. I've thought about what you said. Lena stayed quiet. I'll change, he said, voice soft but earnest. Fewer calls, silent dinners, no weekend overtime when I can help it. I'll try street-side grill stalls, learn to eat spicy. I can. He hesitated, learn to be less of a workaholic. He looked up, cautious hope flickering. Lena, I'll change. Believe me, just once, okay? She stared at him, red eyes, disheveled hair, shirt a crumpled mess, nothing like the polished CEO. Yet her heart skipped. No need, she said. The light in his gaze guttered like a snuffed candle. Why? Because you can't, she replied. And you don't have to. Dominic, after 2 years I know you. Workaholic, control freak, pride bigger than this building, they're carved into your bones. Forcing yourself to change for me would only feel fake, for both of us. You think I can't change? He asked. Pretty much. Dylan. Besides, I don't need you to change. Be yourself, that's enough. Dominic lapsed into silence. He leaned back, staring at the ceiling for the longest time. The room was so quiet she could hear the rain taper off. Finally he asked, what did you ever like about me? Lena blinked. What did you like? He turned his head. You said you loved me, meant it. So what was it? She thought. Handsome, rich, smart. That's it. Only that? Only that, she confirmed. He lapsed again. Gaze fixed upward, he whispered at last, then kiss me. Lena was caught off guard. Excuse me? Kiss me, he murmured, and I'll forgive the awful things you just said about me. She burst into laughter. Dominic, how old are you? 25, he said, then corrected, 27. Almost 28. So you're aware we broke up, right? She reminded him. Exes don't just kiss. A kiss means we get back together, he insisted. No getting back together. Alex, he studied her, eyes dim. One kiss and I leave. Otherwise I stay. Ellis, they stared each other down. Outside, the rain stopped, the world sank into hush. After a while Dominic stood, wobbled to the door, and gripped the frame. He looked back once, a look she couldn't read, hurt, stubbornness, sorrow, and something resolute. Then he stepped out and pulled the door shut. Lena stood there a long time, staring at the closed door. Early next morning her phone jolted her awake. Sonny's voice cracked with excitement. Lena. Huge news. Your Morgan, Dominic, just sent a company-wide email. He's taking a month-long sabbatical, handing everything to the VP. Emergency stuff by email only. The whole office is freaking out. You don't think this is about you, do you? Lena gripped the phone, stunned. She gave a quick recap of last night. Sonny gasped, my God, the big boss just abdicated his throne for you. Lena, this time he might be serious. After hanging up, Lena sat on her bed in a daze. She remembered his childish bargain, kiss me and I'll forgive you, and the complicated look when he'd left. She shook it off, got up, and went through her morning routine. At lunch she impulsively opened WhatsApp and tapped Dominic's Instagram. They hadn't unfollowed each other after the breakup, but she'd never once clicked. The most recent post had gone up that morning, a photo of an airport gate, geotagged to a snow-capped ridge 1,000 miles away. The caption was only 2 words, departing. Mutual friends had already commented below, Morgan, where are you off to for fun? Take me with you. The workaholic is actually on sabbatical? Must be the end of the world. Dominic hadn't replied to a single one. Lena stared at the picture, something inside her shifted, faint but unmistakable. Days slid by. Dominic's Instagram began to update. No boardroom shots, no industry bulletins, just real life. Sunrise over the snow-capped ridge, a lake's mirrored surface, cobblestone lanes in a historic river town, star-strewn desert skies. No captions, only locations, one place each day, as though he meant to cross the entire country. Lena checked every post. She never hit like, never commented, but she looked. She studied the frames where Dominic himself appeared, windbreaker, shades, relaxed grin against landscapes she'd never seen him in. This was a Dominic she didn't know. For 22 days he put serious mileage between himself and Riverdale, teaching himself to unplug, to live, to stop thinking about her. Half a month later, on a Saturday dawn, Lena was woken by knocking. She shuffled to the door, eyes half open. Dominic stood outside. He'd lost weight, but his energy was high, skin tanned a warm wheat shade. 2 grocery bags sagged from his hands, fresh produce, fruit, eggs, milk. I'm making you breakfast. He stepped inside as if he'd never left. Won't take long, go get ready. Lena froze, brain still booting up. Dominic was already in the kitchen, sleeves rolled, rinsing vegetables. Chop, crack, heat, movements a little clumsy but clearly practiced. 20 minutes later the table was crowded, green salad, fried eggs, buttered toast, hot milk, even a parfait of fruit and yogurt. Sit. He pulled out a chair, smiling lightly. Lena sat, robotic. You're back early. Isn't it a month-long sabbatical? Got boring. He settled across from her, smelling faintly of sunshine. Besides, I missed you. He said it casually, like commenting on the weather. Lena's ears warmed. Try it. He nudged the fried egg closer. 3 weeks of cramming, should be edible. She tasted the egg, edges crisp, yolk perfectly runny. The salad dressing was sweet tart and balanced. Not bad, she admitted. Better than takeout. Then I'll cook for you all the time, he said. He the food, head down. When they finished, Dominic cleared the table. Lena leaned in the doorway, watching. He was slow, meticulous, every bowl squeaky clean. That's what you learned, she asked. Cooking and dishes? More. He shut off the tap, dried his hands, turned. I studied how to relax, how not to miss you. Success rate? 0. He stepped closer, soap and sun on his skin. The harder I tried not to, the more I did. Missed you on the ridge, by the lake, under the desert stars, especially there. His eyes were bright, reflecting her. Dominic, you're hopeless. Yep, terminal, he laughed. Only you can cure me. So, his gaze softened, will you start the procedure? Looking at his sun-darkened face, at the earnestness he didn't bother to hide, the 2-year wall inside her cracked. She walked up, rose on her toes, brushed a quick kiss over his mouth, then retreated. Probation period, she warned. Fail and you're out. Dominic froze a beat, then circled her waist and deepened the kiss, tender, lingering, as if she were glass. Rowan they parted, foreheads touching, breaths mingling. Am I stable? He asked, voice rough. Depends on long-term results, she murmured, cheeks hot. He grinned, dazzling as noon light, and hugged her so tightly her feet almost left the floor. I'll behave, he whispered. A lifetime of data to prove I mean it. Eyes closed, Lena leaned against him. Sun pulled through the window, kids played in the courtyard, someone's radio crooned an oldie. Maybe, just maybe, trust was possible again, trust that he could change, that this time they would stand level instead of one looking up, one down. Dominic, she said softly. No more talk of breaking up. Never again, he vowed against her hair. I'm in for life. Her eyes misted, she tilted her head. And Sterling Group? Abandoned? I'll work, he said, but not micromanage. I've learned delegation, and what actually matters. She thought of the gala 2 years ago when he'd squeezed her hand and said, come with me. The same solemn fire in his eyes. They'd circled back to the start, only now it wasn't impulse or infatuation but 2 adults, having lost once, choosing to restart. What do you want to do this afternoon? He asked. Binge a show, she said. With you. Deal, he nodded. First I need a tutorial on eating chips without strewing crumbs, last time you complained. She laughed. Better study hard. I will, he promised, gaze gentle as spring water. I'll study how to love you, how to live an ordinary life with you. He threaded their fingers. Lena, give me one more chance. Let's begin on equal ground, okay? Rowan, she nodded. Okay, one soft syllable, featherlight, promise heavy. Dominic's eyes flared, he hugged her again, fierce and long. Outside, sunlight flooded the old neighborhood, vendors calling, kids shrieking, bicycle bells ringing, the soundtrack of everyday bliss. Breakfast's aroma still drifted from the kitchen, her unfinished novel waited on the coffee table, her favorite throw lay rumpled on the sofa. Everything looked the same, yet nothing was. Lena rested against him. You don't have to change completely. Workaholic, control freak, fine, as long as I'm in your heart. You always were, he kissed her forehead. I was just too dumb to show it. Figured it out now? Still learning, he said solemnly. And I'll never stop, till we're old, till death. She smiled, eyes crescent moons. Sun filled the living room, the radio kept spinning its nostalgic tune. After all the wandering trials, I finally see, simple, calm, and steady is the real deal. Lena closed her eyes. This moment, perfect.